Hey everyone, this is the third video of three that is actually request number 2 of 3 within the same comment. Okay, the comment, the request, read it. This comes mid-comment, so it says, also, I want to add timed challenges with visible timer and a signal if successful, i.e., box trigger, then maybe text and delayed start. Not entirely sure what you mean by that, but you should be able to tweak it to your liking here. And then 4 Hell Knights, 2 minutes, HUD cooldown, 4 dead, success, signal, door open. I'd also not want the challenge to reappear every time you walk past, all one-off events. Alright. Specific events for what an individual wants for their individual purposes. Um, there's only so much I can do to say, this is exactly what you want. One, I don't know exactly what you're looking for, what module you want to use, what effects you want to use, the sounds, the music, so I did. I don't know if I can say I did my best because it's not my idea. So, there's only so much I was prepared to do with this, but it is a little bit more complicated. I have two different main methods of doing this. One I've actually used in the past. Another one I've probably used, but it's a little bit more tailored to a one-time event. Which is what the request is for, but I did include something else. Um, but basically, this is using main objective, sub-objective, timers. I have an example in the editor that I'll show that has mini boss event and a timer on the HUD. I have an objective with a timer being shown. There's a lot of stuff going on in this, but it's just an event for Hell Knights. If you kill all 4 of them, then all 3 of these doors will open and stay open. That's something that's up to you, whatever you want to do. Perhaps you just want to have a secret room over here, and if you go down there and activate something, then you can do it. If you fail, you'll never get in there. But I'll show you in the editor. I actually have this door and this door both wrap around to the room that's behind this door, just for demonstration purposes. Typically I do everything in a room like this, but this did require something like this. I forget? I lost my train of thought. Let me just show you. The request was for 2 minutes. I don't want to just sit here and get beat up on for 2 minutes. I can tell you right now that if you kill all 4 of them within the time period, all 3 doors do open. If you fail, this door remains locked and these 2 doors open. That would be a harder path or something, but if you're successful in this challenge, you can go through and it's like a shortcut. That's the premise of this particular example. Alright, well, anyways, yeah, you would, go down here, whatever. I can't get it there, but typically I think people would just be like, okay, well, I'm just going to go straight across this catwalk, do-do-do. Alright, there's an invisible box trigger. Some Hell Knights. Alright, I just set it to 10 seconds, just to let it finish real quick. They're just removed. It's a custom group encounter. You see these 2 doors are open. This one remains locked because obviously I failed the challenge. You could have something on the other side to open this door, whatever. A lot of customization and personality would go into an event of this kind. Typically I just do, kind of background logic type stuff that can be manipulated however, but this was so specific that I did just what I could think of, but I didn't want to get too carried away where this room was filled with logic to make this, a real beautiful event or something. So that's why they just disappeared instead of exploding or remaining, and you still have to kill them, whatever. So let me go over real quick. One box trigger right there. That's what's starting it. All right, we can get that out of the way. Right here. This is typically what I use. I'm going to go ahead and actually break these chains coming out of it. This is why I use it, because I can do this. I can stick this anywhere I want, and I can handle events remotely. So I can have one room with a bunch of, if you've played Zeus or looked at the logic or the logic overview, you've seen I have an event room that has a bunch of stuff like this, where there are a bunch of booleans that are turned on when an event is active. All right. When I do that, then I can on change test boolean on tested true. Then we can run this event, and then when it's done, we can set false. It's still going to trigger that on changed, but it's not going to start again because it's not going to test true. So that's my preferred method. But if you're doing a one-off event, it might not be necessary. So I threw that in there just because it's typically what I do. I also used a different method here. I'll go over that real briefly. The conditions for this request were a timer on the HUD and having to kill 4 Hell Knights in order for a door to open. That's pretty much it. Sorry if I forgot something. Again, this request, one of 3 by the same guy, Hamon Ryan Chinaski, probably. That's how I'm pronouncing it. I don't know. So what I've done for this, again, I don't know exactly how he wants the timer. If he wants if he wants 0 out of 4 displayed in a sub-objective or something like that, that's going to take some personality to determine what's needed there, which I am glad to help with, but that just requires so much creative control that there's no way I could emulate exactly what you want except by some extraordinary chance. So what I did here, a mini boss event, 4 Hell Knights, activate lockdown, respawn in lockdown module. There's some benefits to this, but there are some issues with this as well, in that this is the only output. On event finished. There's no on spawned, there's no on killed, nothing like that, but you do get, if you have it on, you get the cool health bar. You can put it on the HUD. There's a lot of shortcuts in mini boss events. Not a whole lot of control with the background stuff going on. And you don't get a whole lot of other options. But if you're looking for something consolidated that's fairly simplistic, that's probably the way to go, a mini boss event, but it doesn't offer a whole lot of creativity. Real simple setup here. When this is turned on, which it's turned on when this is entered, set true. And as I said, on changed test, on tested true. This would be hooked up here, but if I would hook it up now, then it would actually trigger, and we'd have 2 events going on at the same time. But on tested true, start event, simple enough. Since the boolean is true, then we can come over here, AI proxy, this is working at the same time. AI proxy, on killed, cause of death, any, activator being the demon, because we have to use an AI filter. Boolean filter, we want to make sure that this night event is active. If you don't have any other Hell Knights in your map at all, ever, no possibility whatsoever, then the Boolean filter isn't really necessary. But most cases, you're probably going to want it there anyways. AI filter, negate true, just for sake of ease, and Hell Knight false. If you wanted to do it in the less confusing way, false, and then set all these do. That's just kind of a pain in the ass, but you can do it that way if you want to. Set all false except for Hell Knight. But setting to negate and just turning Hell Knight to false, same effect. Yeah, coming through unkilled as long as the event is active and as long as what is being killed is a Hell Knight. We're going to add 1 to this count, max count 4. There's 4 Hell Knights, need to kill 4 to complete the challenge. On count reached, stop this timer. This timer is started. No, it's not. Alright. Here we go. Yeah, we'd want to start this timer, wouldn't we? Alrighty. Yeah, I don't know if I accidentally deleted something or if I just fucked up to begin with. Whoops. So yeah, we want to start that timer when we start the event. This timer, as per the request, 2 minutes. These timers get a little weird if you get much higher than like 45 seconds or so. At 2 minutes, one time it gave me 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Another time it gave me 2 minutes and 7 seconds. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. It's probably something in the background. I've got no delays anywhere. All durations were set properly. So I don't know what's up with that. If someone else happens to know why it does that, do let me know. I'm just not sure why it does that. Not that it's that big of a deal, but if I want it to say 2 minutes, god damn it, I want it to say 2 minutes. So, anyways, 2-minute duration. Show on HUD because that was part of the request. All right, let me check out this comment. If I can figure out where it's at. Man, sorry for the pause here. Hello! Let me put on comments. Oh god. Shit. Where is it? Oh, well, that would have been easier. There it is. Alright, there we go. Cool. Alright, so, I'm already, mid broadcast here. So feel free to comment if you want to, and I'll try to respond to you, but I do want to move along with this expeditiously if possible. Trying to use a mini boss spawner with an AI conductor. No. However, if you do want to, I don't know if you are having an issue with demons not being able to spawn from the mini boss. But if you just set the AI conductor to only conduct like 8 demons at once, then you have 4 always available. So you could have a mini boss event with up to 4 demons. Not entirely sure what yeah, I just I had a request from some other guy there. I'm sure there's a long delay in these comments too, so I apologize for that. I tried changing it at some point in time to decrease latency, but anyways, so I'll respond to you as your comments pop up if you comment anymore. But moving on here, with this mini boss event, at the same time we start that, we are also starting this timer. This timer is for 2 minutes as per the request, as long as this event is active, which is set by this boolean. Also, before I go any farther, this is remove on touch because it was requested that this is a one-time event. So this boolean active, so while this is active, we are checking to ensure that Hell Knights being killed add to this count. On count reached, we're going to stop this timer, and at this point you can finish the event, but because there's so much limitations in mini boss events, I am using finish event as just a negative thing. So in this case, you could use an AI iterator and just clean up all the Hell Knights if you wanted to do it that way, and then finish after you've handled opening the doors and everything. Connector separate event. Yeah, well, I don't know. I've used them in tandem before. Not, well, I guess not frequently. Normally I have specific events going on at the same time as mini boss events. Um, I don't know, if you have a specific example, um, thanks. Again, I know there's a delay here, so I'm back and forth here. If you have something, if you have a map published or something, if you want me to look at something, I don't know how much of my previous content you've looked at, but I look at other people's stuff. If somebody wants, help or input or, something, um, I, I'm I'm glad to help. But it is incredibly difficult for specific situations. I addressed that at the beginning of this video. I don't know if you were looking. Ooh, that's a horrible delay. So, yeah, if you got something up, published, I can always look at it. I saw one of your videos, so I know you're on PC, so we couldn't do like party chat or something. But yeah, yeah, I guess that's it. It's hard to address specific problems unless they're simple specific problems. Um, but yeah, continue on with this. If you have any questions about this, feel free to ask because I know this is kind of clunky because this is one of those specific things that I just have no idea exactly what's desired. So I didn't half-ass it, but I did what I could with absolutely no creativity whatsoever because it's not my idea, it was a request. So, yeah, on count reach, stop timer, and then this is where we would also say, okay, the event was successful because the timer wasn't finished yet, but we would check when on timer finished, meaning the event was failed because this on count reach did not trigger the stop timer. On timer finished, event fails, we finish the event. You can remove spawned AI there. Let's see, this is where you would handle any failure type stuff, like coming down here and setting this to false, so we're not counting anymore, and in this case, because we're not removing the AI, you would still be forced to deal with the Hell Knights that still existed. Basically had survival conductor, MBE strapped to it. Conductor was to be paused by the MBE, it runs, then the conductor. Alright. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any specific problem with that. So I don't know what your specific setup was or how many AI you were conducting at the same time or um, what exactly the end result was. But if you do actually have something or if you can replicate an issue and either upload it and send me a link or publish a map or something and send me a comment with a map ID or something like that, I'd be glad to look at it and see what's going on. But thank you. I will continue. Here's another thing before I get to the actual working part of this, which is here. With all of this, if you wanted to, another method you could use instead of using a box trigger, which was the request. You can use module on player entered. This was requested to be a one-off event, so you could use the run once output or run once option in the on player entered output, and then signal this relay. You could be redundant and put run once in here as well if you wanted to, but try not to loop around or anything. It won't do anything, but there was something I was thinking of. You could loop around and actually cause something to try to do something else, and it would eventually crash. You wouldn't get anywhere with it, but it could cause some problems. But some redundancy is okay. But in doing this, which you don't have to do this part, but you could do, if you leave the module, then you fail automatically. So you could use this anyways. On player exit, signal, cancel event stuff. I just have a relay here. You could come over and lock the doors, kill the demons, that sort of thing. But then you'd probably still want a boolean in here to make sure that the event wasn't successful before there's a possibility of tripping a cancel event handling or eval on player exit. So there's that, just a little tidbit thrown in there. Here's what I'm actually doing, or what's actually being used for this. Box trigger on entered. This is only relevant or only used for this remote event handling if you're interested. I was actually trying to use an objective and didn't realize that you could not use multiple inputs for an objective. So I had to swap out some stuff that I was doing and put in main objective and sub objective over here. I don't know, these objectives were just kind of ugly. Sometimes for this particular situation where you want a timer and a counter, they don't blend very well because we have to use a different method for the timer because we can't have a sub-objective with a timer that I can see anyways. There's just no timers for main and sub-objective objects, but there is for regular objective, but then having a counter and stuff like that, it just doesn't work very well. It gets clunky. So I apologize. It's a little ugly, but it does work, and the count wasn't actually requested, but I threw it in there just so I could have some extra stuff and some practice because I haven't used sub-objective and main objective before this. Yeah, on entered, start timer, same thing. We are not showing this on HUD, but we could, and then we could just scrap this objective node and just use this timer, but they're interchangeable, whatever you like. Code for AI kill on conductor break works flawlessly. Maybe I had set to conductor break, but the conductor, I'm sure there's more coming. I will address that shortly once I get with this. Alright, yeah, start timer. This is I have this set to 10 seconds, which is also working with, oh yeah, you do need both of these because this timer doesn't actually trigger anything when it's done. I think it just goes away. So this and this would be the same, but you could scrap this and just use this and show on HUD. Have it set to 10 seconds just for sake of ease, so I'm not sitting here for 2 minutes. But what I think I will do to demonstrate a win, as the beginning of this video demonstrated a loss in 10 seconds, I'm pretty sure I can win in 10 seconds with 1% health on these guys. Conductor won't spawn. So you're using a survival conductor, I take it, and what, on break, starting or attempting to start a mini boss event? Does mini boss event require a player activator? Expects an activator, and the activator will be cached and attached to the, that's probably your problem right there. If I'm correct in assuming that, so your conductor is not an activator, but you're probably trying to use it to activate or to start a mini boss event. All you probably need to do is um, on break or whatever your trigger from your conductor, um, cache an object player, we'll say, on map start, if you're doing campaign single player, whatever, just cache player to or set player to cached object, and then when you are trying to start mini boss event, instead of connecting directly to it, just get cached object and then set on get to mini boss event, and that should start it, because then you'll be providing an activator to the MBE. So try that, let me know what happens. I do have some examples of that, not that specifically. If you do want me to put that specifically in an upload or something, which I don't, you seem to know what you're doing for the most part. So, but if you do need me to do that, let me know. Yeah. All right. Back to this. Start timer. We've got 10 seconds here. We're just showing a timer on the objective, so it's on the HUD. I know this is kind of messy. All right, and we are spawning this custom event, or the custom group encounter. Using custom group encounter because of the stuff that's not available in the mini boss event. You don't get the cool health bar or anything, but you could say on demon spawned, you could probably add some objectives and show health bars for the specific demons if you wanted to do that. On demon killed, we are incrementing sub-objective progress, which is set to 4 and initialized at 0. We need to kill all 4. We are also adding this sub-objective on entered. And then on sub-objective complete, we are successful in the event, so we are cleaning up everything. Hide main objective, which hides sub-objectives. We are also hiding this objective. Timer finished would mean that we failed, so it's going to clean up the other stuff, but it's going to open these doors and keep this door locked. And on success, we are opening all 3 doors. I think that's pretty much all there is to this setup. It's a little clunky. I'm going to get a little shot here for those interested in actually replicating or getting something close to this to work with. If you need to take a screenshot or something, here's everything, and then it's going to be different depending on the module what exactly you want done, but I mean that's fairly simple. Just have a timer running, and then have whatever you need on the HUD. You can do it through the timer if you like, and then use whatever method you want to spawn your encounter, and then just keep track. If you're using a sub-objective, then you can increment progress. You can do that way, or you can use a counter or count object and add to that using whatever method you like. This being the safest, checking to make sure that the event is active, and then specifically looking for that demon being killed, and then add to your count. And then once that is reached, you are successful. Make sure you cancel everything out so you don't end up being successful but then failing because your other stuff didn't finish. Alright, and I'm gonna go in and play for another demonstration. I set the health down to 1% so I can demonstrate a win. All 3 doors will open, not that big of a deal. And I'm gonna check out these comments. I can't see that comment. Let me see, where is that? Nope, that's wrong. Whoopsie. Uh, okay. Ended up working around it with hand-placed barons set up to counters. Two of them connected to wave 4 and wave 8. Kind of rig. I only need it for the POI info, which is why I went hand-placed. Oh. Learning materials near nothing for SnapMap with certain things. Saris Tackless. I don't even know who that is. Silcat Saris. 1%. Oh, yeah. Alright, here we go. That is if they spawn within the second, or within 10 seconds. There we go. And we win all 3 doors. Check that out. Woohoo! So, that's how it works. And the door's not going to close because everything was cleaned up properly. And this just loops around back to here, just as an example. Yeah. There it is. That's just a little clunky. That's not my best example, but like I said, that is a very specific request. I may have gotten a little carried away. I could probably simplify it a little bit more. I probably could have made it cleaner, but if I had to make a suggestion, it would be that no matter what events are going on, but especially in random events or events that could happen over and over, using a boolean at the point of an event, whether you have a main repeater or something, you could, do some sort of randomization to determine when an event happens, whatever you want to do. But in this case, well, I moved it, but having a boolean for your individual events, setting it to true, and then remotely handling it and saying on changed test, if true, then do your event handling there, if possible. That way you can consolidate everything and it keeps your other modules clean. You can add effects and stuff without it getting too yucky, even though they did add this stuff, which does help if you got a lot of stuff going on. But triggering systems and SnapMap provided you know the code. You can trigger almost anything with anything else. Yeah. Yeah, that's accurate, I think. I don't think I've run across anything. I've had some issues, but there's always been a workaround. Filthy mess. Oh man. Yeah. You should see some of my older ones. Well, I guess they're still kind of cleaned up a little bit, but this is actually kind of messy for me. If you get a chance, and this goes for anyone else watching in the future, check out my other snap maps. You don't have to play them if you don't want to or whatever. Some of them are good, some of them, but if you want some stuff that I probably have never covered in any videos, download a copy of some of my maps and check out some of the stuff. I have a zombie map that's got some cool stuff going on, at least in the background. I've got that Zeus map that's got a bunch of stuff that got messy at the end. Yeah, I've got a few things. But yeah, if you get a chance, just search by name. Yeah, that took me a while. I forget how long it took. Probably, I don't know, 36 hours or so of actual work. I did have to go back through and remove a bunch of stuff and all sorts of stuff. If anyone is watching in the future, by the way, like if you like, dislike if you didn't, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks. Um, all that good stuff. Um, but I don't really have much going on right now. I mean, you're watching at the moment. I guess I could, if you're interested. I know there's a delay, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. If you're not interested, if you want to just leave, that's fine. Um, but I can actually go out here and see um, if I've got anything. I've got some other stuff that I'll be working on. I don't know if you've ever played Dungeon Keeper. I'm actually going to be working on something as similar as possible within SnapMap. Um, that's going to be pretty cool. An onslaught map, like a MOBA type map. Um, Let's see. There's Zeus. I haven't touched that in, what is it, 5, 6 months. Stronghold beta. That's somebody else's, I think. And some other crap. Yeah, that has a bunch of stuff. Music composer. I don't know if you saw that. Doom on Twitter. I guess they wanted me to finish it. But yeah, thanks. Let's see. I have some multiplayer maps on here. I don't think anybody plays them. I don't even know if that's published. That's supposed to be 4-player. Let's see. That's just a fun thing. I think this got all screwed up somehow. Labyrinth, that's alright. Just stream the game, die horribly live. Alright, let's see, where is it here? Some of these I've probably just like started and laid down a map, but never actually got into. I don't even know. These are really old. These are probably awful. Raid 1. Okay, this is the first map that I did. And of course, this is very shortly after Doom was released.